Hi, friends. It's my day off, but there's a storm coming, so obviously gonna have to talk about that. But first, I just want to say thank you. It's been a crazy year or so since I got home. Obviously, dealing with mom being sick, our dog dying, the family dog Coco, then mom eventually passing after her battle with the cancer. Things at work starting off obviously a little bit on the rough side, adjusting to from being down in Louisiana, and thank you to my friends down south that still follow me, and also coming back home to a place that I fell in love with the weather. So I want to thank you. The pizza, the ice cream, the people, everyone I've met, winning awards I didn't think I had a shot at. That was because of you. I'm just here trying to, live life every day and make myself better from who I was yesterday. So thank you so much for being here. And let's talk about some storm stuff, right? Let's get into the maps and the details of this storm because there's a lot to break down. So I want to talk about that now and really get you ready and prepared in case a storm gets here. Whether or not it gets here or not, don't know yet. But I can tell you the impacts are starting to line up for us here, especially in Maine, in Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, the Maritimes, southern New England. Let's talk about all of that.
Newest update just came out from the National Hurricane Center in Miami, Florida. It puts the cone up to Saturday afternoon, just south of New England, potentially in New England. As you see here, Boston, you are now in the cone. Nova Scotia, you are now in the cone of uncertainty for later Saturday into Saturday night or even Sunday morning. The center can be anywhere in that. Effects and impacts will be outside the cone. Now, let's just go ahead and talk about the ensembles here. So grab a beverage, a slice of pizza, some ice cream. I'm going to talk about the ensembles, which are featuring a track that is farther to the west. Now it's about Nova Scotia, back even towards Boston. You have the ensemble runs, you have the operational runs. The ensembles are putting this in the Gulf of Maine, most likely. Same thing with the operational runs, the computer models. It's like saying that you have a group of people instead of one person. The operational would be, let's say, one person. The ensembles would be a group of people. And the grouping right now is the Gulf of Maine or Nova Scotia. And that's where I expect the impacts to be if the center of circulation gets in there for later Friday, later Saturday, into early Sunday. The ensemble members, just from the American model here, 31 of them, a lot of them are putting this, so a lot of people, for example, a group of people are saying this goes to the Gulf of Maine or Nova Scotia. And here's a look at what that would look like. South of the mid-coast, south of down east, wind gusts to at least tropical storm force and probably going to be close to hurricane force offshore or near shore. The tropical storm force wind probabilities are going to be scraping Rhode Island into southern New England. And this is going to increase in probability the next few days from the hurricane center. As you'll see here, after this storm gets past that Gulf Stream off the Cape May coast in New Jersey, it gets to cooler water temperatures. It gets cut off from its, basically fuel for being a tropical system. It will then become no longer a warm core system at that point. What it's going to do 100% is drive in that surge, the waves, the seas, the long swells. That's going to happen for all the way back to Halifax, back to Rhode Island easily. And the water vapor imagery shows the dry air wrapping into the system as the wind field expands, as the latent heat is released, as this storm starts to interact and go extratropical by Friday into Saturday. You'll see here the Hurricane Center track. Once again, 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon. Anywhere the center could be in that cone. So it could be a stretch of 400 or 500 miles to the east or west. Most likely be in the center, but it could be in Rhode Island. It could be Boston. It could be Nova Scotia. It could be heading out to sea, going towards Sable Island eventually. I think it's going to be in the Gulf of Maine. That's where I'd put my money right now, especially around the mid-coast down east and Nova Scotia. If I was a betting man, that's where I put this storm. And I think everyone right now along the Maine coastline, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and back towards Nova Scotia should watch out. So the ensembles, once again, that's all this spaghetti plot here. A bunch of squiggly lines, looks like spaghetti thrown on a map. And that's what it is. It's a lot of computer models running kind of against itself. And there's a bunch of clusters here to look at as you zoom in. Most of them go to Nova Scotia or even down East Maine, even, towards Eastport. Most of them. Even some of them take it out close to Halifax. Now, that's most. And I'm going to go ahead and draw a couple of arrows here where their clusters are. That's what we look for as meteorologists, clusters of these spaghetti models. So that's where there's some agreement. And a lot of them take it into Nova Scotia. Others take it closer to the down east coastline of Maine, the Gulf of Maine. Regardless, have a plan in place. Be prepared for this storm to come in later Friday into Saturday and Sunday.